everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for coming to our Royal Retreat. Give yourselves a hand. Welcome to our networking experience and panel discussion hosted by PROFILEmiami. My name is Katia Demina, and Dimitri and I are the co-founders of Profile, a media company with a monthly reach of over 400,000 people across our website, Instagram, email, YouTube, and podcast. I'd like to take a second to thank Matthew and his team for having us tonight. What a beautiful venue, the food is amazing, and what a great place to have an event. Thank you for hosting us. And we want to invite you all to join us for dinner after the event. Thank you to our liquor partners, Esquisito Tequila, 11 Vodka, Tripping Animals Brewery, and Bonatti Wines. Thank you, Christian Charre. Esquisito Tequila. Sorry. Thank you, Christian Charre, who's the senior managing director of Berkadia's investment hospitality arm. Thank you for moderating and for being here tonight. Thank you, Eisenberg. Give him a round of applause. Thank you, Berkow, Riddell, Fernandez, Larkin, and Tapanis, your local zoning, land use, and environmental attorneys for sponsoring the event. And now, I'd like to call up Robert Rivani, Ronny Finvarb, Michael Simkins, Alex Witkoff, Mathieu Massa, and Christian Charre to the stage. Let me get out of here. I'm gonna give you mine. All right,
Hi, everyone. Oh. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's not working. Oh, yeah, it is. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm Christian Charre with Berkadia. My specialty is really hospitality investment across the Southeast, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Thank you for Katia for having me here with such a panel. Very impressive here. And there's another French person in the panel. Thank you. After we can talk in French. But I'll let you introduce yourself. Michael, Miami guy forever. So why don't you speak a little bit about yourself?
Sure, thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here, and Matthew, thank you very much for having us in this gorgeous, historic restaurant. My wife and I remember coming to the opening here and celebrating and listening to your passionate speech about kind of developing this when COVID's going on and making a big investment and taking that risk, not only for the venture, but for the city and what it would mean for the neighborhood. So thank you, Matthew. It's great to be here. Thank you for hosting us. My name's Michael Simkins. I am a real estate developer, and I'm also in the hospitality business. We purchase land in the pathway of redevelopment. We assemble parcels. We activate it by creating and owning businesses there, and we partner with some world-class operators, and we partner with condominium and hotel developers and build vertical buildings. I'm also a partner at E11EVEN, which is a lifestyle brand that started as a nightclub, has evolved into the hotel space, condominium. We sold over $1 billion of condos. 11 Vodka is the fastest growing vodka in Florida, and a lot of exciting things coming. So my wife's here, who's the CEO of 11 Vodka, and great to be here with you guys.
Mathieu, the other Frenchman in the room.
Good evening. My name is Mathieu Massa. I'm going to be your host tonight. Thank you all for coming here. I'm originally from Cannes in the south of France. Did my MBA in Babson College in Boston and was very inspired by the American dream, to the point that I decided to take my chances. Even though I was from a successful family business, I came here in 2007 and it's been quite a beautiful journey for me here in this country, especially here in Miami. I started in real estate, buying condos during the subprime crisis. I convinced investors from Europe to benefit from the exchange rate back then between the euro and the dollar, which was very beneficial, and buying to add value and resell. And I really fell in love in the hospitality industry in 2009 when I bought a restaurant called Vita, which I turned into a brand called Baoli, and ran that business for 15 years. Then opened Marion and El Tucan in Brickell, when Brickell was a ghost town, very different from what it is today. Opened Queen last year after 3 years of construction. This place used to be a historic movie theater from the 40s, and it was an honor for me to develop this property, to bring it to life and offer the experiences that we've been offering that are really inspired about what Miami used to be, and I'm very proud of that project. We just recently opened Lafayette Steakhouse at the former El Tucan space in Brickell, which is a very high-end American steakhouse, which is an homage to the relationship between France and the United States. I'm very honored to be here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am Robert Rivani, the president of Black Lion, or the crazy Mohawk guy, or the crazy beard guy, or the guy that spent $100 million over the past 2 years thinking hospitality is going to be the future of Miami. So thank you all for coming tonight. As you guys may know, I brought some of the biggest brands, whether it's Catch, Delilah, Gecko, Philippe Chow, one of those brands that I'm grateful for what hospitality does for this city, because as we all know, hospitality is the future of any world, any city that you want to come to. Miami's become the global destination for everybody in the world, and I think what drives that is hospitality. So thank you guys for all coming. We all love hospitality. Thank you, Matthew, for having such a beautiful restaurant. There's no competition between my brands that you have and you. It's actually a partnership, because we all agree that hospitality is the future of the city. So thank you for hosting tonight. Thank you all for coming. And Miami is the greatest city that this country and this world has ever seen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ronny Finvarb. First of all, I'd like to thank Dimitri and Katya for organizing this wonderful event. Every time they keep elevating the experience, and let's all give them a round of applause because they're doing a great job. Great job. Secondly, I'd like to thank Matthew for basically letting us have this event in such a beautiful venue. He is elevating the experience on Washington Avenue and South Beach, and we're so proud of what he's doing from a hospitality standpoint, and we look forward to extending what you're doing in South Beach as well. My group, what we do is we develop and own mixed-use projects which are primarily hotel-focused with other entertainment-type F&B and or retail components. So some of our properties, we actually were one of the first branded hotels on Washington Avenue. We opened a Courtyard Marriott in 2002 between 15th and 16th in Washington. Since then, we've been doing different types of hotel projects in different parts of the country, primarily focused on South Florida, but also we developed and owned a hotel in Texas and in Arizona. After, we also basically focused on Sunset Harbor. We did the Residence Inn, which we still own in the Sunset Harbor neighborhood. Next door to it, we did the Palomar Hotel. We are currently under development at the Thompson Hotel on the corner of 17th and Washington. We actually engaged one of the top 2 architects in France to do the beautiful design. His name's Rudy Ricciotti. It is at the former location of the Citibank on the corner of 17th and Washington. Going to be a spectacular project that we expect to open in the 4th quarter of this year. Since then, we've acquired more properties as well. We're doing another boutique project in Sunset Harbor. We're doing another small project in Bay Harbor. We did an assemblage in Deerfield Beach. We acquired the Macy's in South Beach. That will be a long-term project, but we're super bullish on South Beach, Miami Beach in general, South Florida, and we're happy to be among these esteemed colleagues of ours that are doing such wonderful projects. And thanks to 11 Vodka for the Lightning, because they are releasing their new 11 Vodka brand called Lightning in a Bottle. Thanks, Michael.
I don't know. He made that up.
I just made that up, but thanks anyway.
Hi, Alex Witkoff, Co-Chief Executive Officer of the Witkoff Group. Thank you, Profile and Dimitri, for hosting us all this evening. Our business has been around since the 1990s, originally based in New York, where we're still quite active. We're building in the Highline, one Highline, which will consist of a Faena Hotel, which everyone's familiar with from Miami Beach, 120 keys, the flagship for Faena in New York, with 235 condos, million square foot development. We're also building a big project in Brooklyn and have other hospitality assets there, including the Public Hotel, in conjunction with the Traeger, so on and so forth. I moved down to Miami in 2020. It's now the headquarters of our company. We're very, very bullish on Miami Beach and the future economic growth of the South Florida region. In Miami Beach, we're quite active with the Shore Club, which is the redevelopment of the historic Shore Club with a new 75-key hotel with Auberge Resorts Collection, one of the leading 5-star resort brands in the United States, along with a 200-foot tower by Robert M. Stern. They'll bring high-quality residential to the area as part of the overall rejuvenation of the South Beach neighborhood. Similarly, we're developed the first new golf club in Miami in the past 25 years, Shell Bay, which is technically in Hollandale Beach. As you know, it's quite difficult to accumulate land in South Florida, given the paucity of land. We found 150 acres to build a brand new golf course with a hotel by Auberge as well, new residences, state-of-the-art racket center, marina, homes. Quite exciting to, for us, it was a generational opportunity to build something of its kind in the Miami region. Similarly, in West Palm Beach, we're doing another golf course focused community with homes, a hotel, tennis, golf, so on and so forth. We're also developing in Miami World Center, a 3 million square foot mixed-use development, which is multifamily-led with retail-added space. So quite excited to be here tonight. We're very bullish on Florida and the hospitality in this region, and look forward to discussing more.
Thank you, everyone, for this intro. Again, thank you, Mathieu, for it. So on the panel, we have two people from Miami, Ronny.
Yes.
Exactly. So you're both born and raised in Miami. But if you're looking at the panel, Mathieu from France, we've got Robert from Los Angeles, Alex from New York. So my question to start is, how does Miami compare to the other metro big cities around the country? And what attracted you? Let's start with you, Alex. Why Miami compared to other places?
Sure. I think for us, real estate's the ultimate supply-demand business. So we like to focus in pockets, even within Florida, at least from a hospitality perspective, where you have real barriers to entry. Miami Beach, beyond being an amazing market for all the reasons we all know, the beautiful beaches, the sun, the great restaurants, the great governance. I know one of our commissioners is in the room, Joe Magazine. But beyond that, so we like to focus in areas where you have real natural barriers to entry. Miami, like New York and some other markets do, some markets in Texas don't have real barriers to entry, so you can actually get rate. Second, it's very favorable from a labor standpoint. Some of the big cities, as Christian, you're familiar with, like New York, San Francisco, LA, have very powerful unions, which are great. I believe in unions, but that also can create cost pressures in the market. So here you have a benefit of, a high barrier to entry market where you can earn real rate, where you can also operate in a way that's very flexible and you can achieve a lot of financial success.
And Robert, you from Los Angeles originally, what
Do you want to live in communism or do you want to live in capitalism? I mean, for me, when you live in LA, they tax you to the brink. You want to be broke and work for the government. You want to come to Miami, deal with a little bit of heat, and make yourself wealthy. It comes down to very simple economics. I'm not in the business of working for the government and paying all my money to them while I live in a homeless population, living like dog shit. I can live in Miami, live on a beach, enjoy the weather, make money for myself and my family, and enjoy a normal life.
Michael, what is your take on this?
That was a good summary, but I agree with that. Now, growing up in Miami, I mean, we were always the entertainment, nightlife, culture kind of fun capital that people thought as a vacation destination. But really with the Gianni Versace, the models, the nightlife was a big influence on culture. And I remember thinking that Miami's the greatest city in the world. We have boating, we have beaches, we have great, beautiful people here. But it really has evolved so much since then. I think that being undervalued, people found Miami, discovered it. There was a big effort through a lot of stakeholders in South Florida to attract higher paying jobs like the Knight Foundation and people who really made concerted efforts to bring high paying jobs, technology that was 15 years in the making. And when the mayor, during COVID, said whatever his quote and got everyone, that was kind of like capping 15 years of effort to redefine Miami from a vacation destination to a major global city that now everyone recognizes as one of the best cities in the world. And I think that there is a lot more upside.
Mathieu, your take when you came here, I mean, you went to Babson College and you're looking at the country, and Miami was attractive to you for this.
Because of the weather. I was traumatized with the cold in Boston. I knew I wanted to do my career in the United States. Boston was not it for sure. Coming here to Miami out of chance, doing an internship, I really connected with a lot of things that reminded me the south of France, the beach, the tourism, the high-end hotels, restaurants, the diversity in the people. And the potential was obvious to me. I mean, the pricing per square foot of real estate in general, both in the residential and commercial, was a third of what it is today. And it was easy to imagine what the potential could become. Nobody could anticipate what the COVID triggered and created. The only thing I can talk about regarding this question is the evolution of the city in itself. The amount of restaurants and high-end destinations 15 years ago was maybe 5, 6 places. Today we have probably 30 to 40. And that's, again, going back to the supply and demand that Alex was talking about earlier. The evolution is phenomenal. We are definitely, and I agree with Robert, one of the most sexy and exciting city in the world. And we now can compete with the biggest capitals of the world, like Paris, London, New York. And today, really, it's really Dubai and Miami. The other big cities in the world, unfortunately, have gone down recently, and we are very fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. So we need to be grateful and do our best to entertain people so they come back.
Doing a great job with the entertainment here. Ronny, talking about numbers, what is the hospitality market? Talking about hotels and the hospitality performance. Could you give us a little bit, being a big hotel owner here?
Okay, so let me preface this by saying, without trivializing the effect that COVID had on the health of, thousands and thousands of people, COVID, from an economic standpoint, was one of the best things that happened to Miami and South Florida, okay? Honestly, it basically fast-forwarded South Florida by 10 plus years. Okay, why? Because people realize that this is an unbelievable destination. This is an unbelievable market that that I could work from, that I could live from, that I could enjoy all of the experiences and all of the natural beauty that South Florida has to offer, and I could save, in city and state taxes. So why not experience the beauty that South Florida has to offer? So fortunately for us, and I'm not saying, again, health aside and health issues aside, COVID was what triggered the economic boom in our market, okay? So to answer your question, from 2019, putting COVID aside, 2020, 2021 aside, from 2019 to 2022, our hotels in the Miami Beach market, basically from a RevPAR standpoint, increased from the mid-20s, so from 25% to 35%, okay? Fast forward 2019 to 2020, 2022, 25 to 35% RevPAR growth, okay? Which is huge. We've never seen that ever. From 2022, and again, part of that you could say was due to obviously revenge travel, and once COVID stopped and people started traveling, Florida's where everybody wants to be. 2022 to 2023, we saw an increase, actually a slight decrease by in our hotels in South Beach by 2%, okay, which was not a big decrease. Other hotels saw more of a decrease. We only saw a dip by 2%. And why? Because the overseas market started to open and people started to travel to Europe, to Asia, and to other overseas destinations. From 2023 to 2024, we are projecting that we will have an increase of about 5% from last year to this year. So to answer your question, from 2019 to 2022, nobody in their right mind would have ever projected that we would have seen a 25 to 35% RevPAR increase. It was unexpected. We welcome it as hotel owners, and South Florida is here to stay. We're very excited about it.
Thank you. Alex, question for you. What are when talking about development, what is a successful strategy? I mean, land has been going up a lot. And, what would you recommend, or what would you advise to make it successful? You're building the auberge in Miami Beach, buying at the right price. Interest rates are really high today. What is the right strategy to make a project successful?
Sure. So one is we definitely believe in buying in best-in-class locations, right? So the elements of South Florida where we're most focused on are certainly beach-oriented markets, particularly for hospitality, like Miami Beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach. We have huge Barrier Century, Palm Beach where we're building, West Palm Beach, so forth. So we're very, very location-driven. We want to own long-term relevant real estate. Of course, there's always basis is really critical because good real estate at a bad basis isn't a great thing, and usually there's a basis at which you'd want to own less relevant real estate, unless it's New York City office buildings mid-block, which now are very, very challenged. I'd say as it comes to things like you're talking about construction's not for the faint of heart. It's very, very complicated. We're certainly in a world right now where construction financing is really tight. The best lenders in the market, whether it's the JP Morgans, the Apollos, the Goldman Sachs of the world, are really lending to top-tier sponsors and projects. So if you're going to construct, obviously, I know a lot of people on here construct, or everyone does, but you have to be very focused on execution, right? Certainly, over the past few years, now it's started to wane or plateau, but you've seen a huge run-up in construction costs given the activity in the market. So you have to have a lot of experience in constructing, managing contractors, subcontractors, architects, so forth.
Robert, you just opened Catch restaurant. How did you manage return for your investor, the cost of building? How do you?
That's a fantastic question. So
Sure.
I made restaurant hospitality a business. Unlike Matthew, who owns and operates his own business, I said, I'm going to make hospitality a profitable business by owning the building and not spend $15, $20 million building it out, because I'm not going to do that. So I made a space that was actually viable for them. So instead of having an operator that used to be a dart bar over there that made no sense in the South of Fifth neighborhood, we ended up buying them out, spending millions of dollars to take them out of their business and say, hey, I don't think a dart bar concept for South of Fifth neighborhood, which is one of the highest price per square foot residential neighborhoods in the entire market, doesn't make sense. I don't see anybody from Continuum coming down and saying, I want to decide to play darts. Just didn't make sense. So I said, okay, if I buy you out of your business and I put a concept like Catch, that's a world-renowned brand that could bring traffic from all over the city to this location, it's going to be more viable for you to make higher revenue that can pay me more rent, so that can make sense for me to pay what I pay for my buildings. And that's the one thing I think Black Lion has done, is saying we can make money being a residential hospitality brand and not being like a lot of other brands that say, we're going to build this high-rise, and this doesn't take a shot at anybody in this room, but we're going to build a high-rise. We're going to pay a celebrity chef tens of millions of dollars to open a business just to fail 2 years later. We have a very different brand than that. So when you bring these high-octane brands that are the 1% of the 1% that can do 20, 30 million, whether it is Catch, Philippe Child, Delilah, this, that, the other, they are the draw. We're not bringing restaurant brands that are to benefit or supplement the building. The brand leads the building. And that's a very different way that real estate, hospitality, investing has been over the past few years.
Thank you. Michael, what are the opportunities and challenges that you see which are unique and in Miami? I mean, you can build anywhere, but what is difficult and good about Miami?
Well, I'm going to answer the question. I just want to say, as Alex touched on Shell Bay really quick, and for those of you who don't know, Shell Bay is a world-class country club destination. Like, this place is so nice, so technology advanced. The food is incredible. It's $1 million to join, and there's a wait list to get into Shell Bay. So that level of experience, that level of place that you and your partners have developed is like incredible. You know, to come up with that idea and to execute and deliver on that level is really fantastic. But back to your question.
Challenge and opportunities.
South Florida, the challenging thing is it's expensive to do business in South Florida. Properties cost a lot. The rents are expensive. You know, Matthew buys his buildings and then opens up businesses there. Robert buys the real estate, picks the best operators in class. But you're always buying at an expensive price, and it doesn't necessarily make that much sense unless you're able to put together information from different sources that things are happening, that this is opening here, that this is going to happen, and you believe that Miami's on an upward trajectory. And usually, buying in the best locations, buying in the best cities, you make more money. So I think it's challenging to have the courage to invest when sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense. And I think that people have been rewarded by doing that, by believing in Miami, by staying with it. But nothing happens according to plan also. So right now is a very challenging time. If you're building certain things, you may have to wait. So you need a structure, a capital structure. You know, when you purchase something, you could have a lot of leverage, you could have no leverage. Obviously, no leverage, you're less risk, but it's harder to buy stuff. So I think that having a longer term perspective with a lower risk profile for a hot, growing area is a winning formula.
I think what I hear from Alex, from you, is like, and even from Robert and Matthew, is like, invest for the long term. This is not come in, make a quick buck, and just get out. Yeah? Matthew, you're the same principle. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I made the mistake 15 years ago to invest 13 years of my life in building a restaurant, a database, what we call a goodwill with Baoli, and I didn't realize that owning the real estate would allow the investment and the hard work to perpetuate in time. And I've learned that was an expensive lesson for me to learn. In France, it's very different. You have a lot more ownership into the space as a tenant, the law is very different there. And that lesson pushed me to make a very, at the time, scary investment in the real estate of my next ventures back in Brickell, when again, Brickell was a ghost town. So when you add the cost of the build-out to the cost of the real estate, you better know what you're doing. And that's why very, very few restaurant owners actually own their real estate. But in the end of the day, that strategy that I started back then proved to be the right strategy, because when I put so much money 10 years ago in Marion and El Toucan in Brickell, it allowed me today to put additional money to be able to bring my spaces that are now run down back to the level they need to be to compete with the new competition. And very few of my competitors who've been open for the same amount of time are going to be able to do the same thing, because they're going to have to pay rent in the time of construction. They're going to have to invest a very significant amount of capital, and financially it's not going to make sense. But since I made that decision back then, I now can compete, and that's a level of safety that I was able to get. And again, owning the real estate is a crucial, in my mind, component to my long-term strategy, but obviously you have to have support from the banks, which was my case. After 15 years of track record, they really backed me up here and at the other places. It's not always easy, but yeah, the real estate, and that's the subject of today, right? The hospitality and real estate component is crucial, and I'm happy I made that decision.
Robert, you had a counter on this?
I love Matthew, so I'm going to be careful with my words, but real estate long-term investing is one of the most nonsense bullshit things I've ever heard in my entire life. I love you. For Matthew, it makes sense because he owns a business and owns a real estate. Everyone can sit up here and pretend they're the smartest person and the smartest human being when it comes to real estate in the world. When COVID happened, the government here said, we're open for business. The government came and said, we're closed for business, like LA, where you had to eat your food, put the mask back on, eat your food, put the mask back on. This society would have never been a success. We have to thank our local politicians for having the guts to say, hey, we're open for business. Miami's here. We're not going to believe in all the bukkakis that happened. And we're going to say, hey, we're open for business. We're here. Invest in us. Believe in us. We're going to let you guys do and make adult decisions. LA and a lot of other markets, New York, they didn't have that. So for me, when it comes to real estate long-term investing, if you long-term invested in Southern California right now, you'd be in a lot of trouble. You need to adapt. You need to pivot. You need to make moves when it comes to real estate. You can't just say, well, real estate 15 years from now will be a hot thing. If you thought that process when you bought in Detroit 30, 40 years ago and it was the Motor City and everyone said Detroit's the future of America, you would have lost your ass. So I think, yes, you need to think of real estate from a long-term perspective, but you also need to pivot and make moves when things change. Because there's a lot of things outside of our real estate hands, restaurateurs' hands, hospitality hands that say, hey, if something changes, I need to move on. And if you don't pivot, you're going to die. And I think that's the beautiful part of Darwin's theory, whether it's hospitality or it's real estate. You need to be able to pivot and move and make sure you don't fall and say, it's going to come back. This city's the greatest city. It was 10 years ago, it will come back. Because we're seeing right now a very dysfunctional market where some markets are once upon a time the hottest markets in the United States are not coming back. So be vigilant. Be active in the market and say, hey, what's the future? 2 years ago, I barely had a portfolio in Miami. I spent $100 million plus, and I said, this is the future. LA's not the future, and I made it happen. So don't believe in all the real estate tales that say, invest in 10, 20 years from now will be worth double or triple. I think that's a very asinine way of thinking about real estate.
Indian. We're getting toward the end. So I'm going to ask every one of you, what is a new concept that are in the works in Miami, if you know any, and what are the emerging neighborhood? Well, there's a lot of investors here. So if you, I'm sure.
What was the question?
The question. So what are the new concepts in the work in Miami,
Concepts in hospitality?
Yeah, hospitality-wise. being technology-driven, being location-driven, being concept-driven. Mathieu proved a new concept here. And what are the new neighborhoods? But I'm sure you're going to be reluctant to tell where to buy in the future.
No, I'm happy to tell everyone where to
All
buy.
right, Michael, go
So I
ahead.
have an opinion. So we are developing the 11 hotel and residences. The 11 hotel is going to have 120,000 feet of commercial space. It's going to be the Cosmopolitan Hotel in the middle of downtown Miami. Day club, 4 restaurants, Deepak Chopra 20,000 foot spa, med spa, sports bar. It's going to be entertainment. It's going to be luxury. It's what W wishes that they could be. And it's going to be world-class and an amazing asset that this is going to be the first location of dozens around the world. So very excited about that.
So that means buy land around the 11 if it's still affordable.
In terms of neighborhoods, although I've born and raised in Miami Beach and love it, and I'm a big property owner in Miami Beach, I'm really passionate about different neighborhoods in the city of Miami. I've been since 2012. Stakeholder, a property owner in Park West. Park West is the neighborhood where Miami World Center is, right near the Miami Airlines Arena. Where 11 is, it's basically 6th Street to 395 from the train tracks to Biscayne Bay. That area is going to go through radical transformation. It's going to be the amazing neighborhood that everyone here goes to restaurants there, goes to entertainment there. Apple's opening. There's going to be 40 different restaurants that are there in the next 6 years that open. And it's going to really be, and what it has parks, it has open space, it has cultural institutions, you have access to the waterfront, you have public transportation, you have easy access off the highway. When going back to 2012 and all the things were changing, they were building the tunnel and they were moving Camilla's house and it was a wipeout. I was playing Monopoly in Park West. I was buying everything that I could buy. And I own 10 acres in Park West. I have 4 city blocks over there that is going to be unbelievable. We're starting, we have 3 condos under development now. We have a lot more projects in the works. Really excited about that. And Overtown also, just to the west, historic neighborhood, older than the city of Miami, the Harlem of the South. It was Miami's original after-hours nightlife destination. When you go there, you feel the past. You feel Sammy Davis Jr., Sam Cooke performing after they had to be in the Fontainebleau. It's electric. And the revitalization that is underway, that's starting there, it's just beginning. But in 5 years, Overtown is going to be electric. All of you will be dining there, entertaining there, having fun there. Some of your kids may even have condominiums or apartments there. So I'm really excited. for those.
Christian, so I would say if you're looking for an up-and-coming, booming, emerging neighborhood, each of us are going to absolutely answer with where our portfolio is based. There's no question. Obviously, right. So what I'm trying to focus big picture-wise is Miami has so much demand, and South Florida in general has so much demand that all of these little unique neighborhoods have been branded and have their own unique identity. And there's so many people, developers like everybody on this panel, that's focusing on a different neighborhood that has so much enthusiasm, like Michael's describing the Park West neighborhood, that there's so much demand that we're really, like me personally, I love Miami Beach. I personally love Sunset Harbor. You know, we own 3 properties right now in Sunset Harbor. We're you know, Miami Beach in general, we're obviously very bullish on Miami Beach, but we're looking in different markets. But Coconut Grove, just all of these neighborhoods have been branded like whatever, the Coconut Grove, Little River, just every single little pocket that has its own unique identity has a place, right? So we feel that there's so much more, we're on such an upward trajectory that all of these little pockets are going to be filled with great hospitality, great F&B, great entertainment, great office, that there's like, we have not even hit the tip of the iceberg in this market, okay? So what I would say is, like somebody mentioned before, is do your due diligence, see what's coming, like see what's in the pipeline, figure out what voids are in the market, and try to fill those voids, okay? Once you fill those voids, whether it's an area that is an afterthought to some people, could be the next booming area. So just really study hard, and go with your instinct and go with your gut and focus on those neighborhoods that you feel have voids that you think need to be filled.
Mathieu. Concept, destination.
I mean, I don't have a personal opinion on what concept is about the future. I mean, obviously, I innovated here, as you can see, but my opinion is quality. My opinion is luxury. We have now some of the wealthiest people in the world living here around us, and we need to deliver. We need to make it to their expectations. Those people travel in the best places in the world, where hospitality is at the forefront of the culture of those countries, and we need to compete, and we need to deliver on quality and luxury and consistency. And that's my personal vision, and I think that's the recipe for success. And then, as far as neighborhood, I've always been a strong believer in Miami Beach. I think there is still quite a few neighborhoods within Miami Beach that have a lot of potential that can definitely get better. I mean, doing what we did here on Washington Avenue was a testament of how strong we believe in the city, and we spent all this time and resources in a street that was obviously not appealing at the time, but now it's coming back, and I think there is still a lot of room. Obviously, Brickell has surprised everybody in how it has developed over the past 6-7 years now. Still think a lot of potential there, but it depends on your vision, your concept, your passion, and what you're looking to accomplish. I still think Miami is full of potential for the next 10, 15, 20 years, and that's what's exciting about this city.
Thank you, thank you. Agree. Robert.
That's a
Your 2 cents.
fantastic question. My answer to it is I don't really give a flying hoot if I'm in Miami or Miami Beach. I believe in building quality. And when you build quality, people will come. I ask every single person here, if you're coming to Miami Beach and staying at the W or one hotel, and you put on your Uber, I'm going to catch, do you really care where it is? The Uber's going to drop you off there. And what I care about is building quality. When you build quality, people will come. So as long as you build the right kind of product, you build the right kind of quality, whether it's the Class X office we're building in Miami Beach or it's Brickell in the future, if you build the right quality product, people will come. And that's the big belief that I've had in real estate, that no matter what the general location is you build the right quality and people believe in your vision, they will follow. So I know there's a lot of people here that will sell their local property or their local area. I follow where I can build quality. And if people will follow that vision and dream, I think that's what the future is. Because we're getting in a generation where a lot of people don't believe in quality, and a lot of people don't believe in spending tens of millions of dollars to build something special. And if you're willing to take that gamble and risk, like every single one of us up here have, Matthew especially, spending the amount of money he has to build such a beautiful restaurant, that people don't care if it's on Washington Avenue or if it's in Brickell, they will follow and come. So I think the flight to quality in the future of real estate is dependent upon that the people that are risk takers and the people that are willing to put their money where their mouth is, and that people will follow suit.
So we very much appreciate Michael's shout out on our Shell Bay property. We sell the amazing 11 vodka too. But we very much have leaned into golf-focused development. So, you know, Shell Bay, as Michael enumerated, is golf-focused development. But we've reinvented golf. So instead of having your typical staid golf experience where you get demerit for not tying your shoes or talking on your cell phone, we want to bring in great culinary. So instead of serving broiled chicken, we serve Steak River Farm steak and unbelievable turkey burgers with curry mayo and vegetable slaw. In addition to great culinary, we have unbelievable tennis and spa programming and bowling alleys and so forth. So really creating these dynamic new golf experiences. In Miami, there's not that many golf courses given how scarce land is. So anything new we do believe could be successful. But really, when you're the first new one in, multiple decades, it gives you a lot of opportunity to do things differently. Similarly, we're opening a new course in West Palm Beach, where there hasn't been a new course in about 20 years as well. So same thesis, when you haven't had something for a while, you have the opportunity to do something really special and new that meets what people want today, not that what they wanted 20, 30, 40, or 50 years ago. In terms of emerging neighborhoods, we're very bullish on Miami Beach, but obviously that doesn't qualify as an emerging neighborhood. We followed Michael and his company to the Park West neighborhood. We're quite bullish on there and what's happening in Miami World Center. We believe Miami is moving toward transportation, and you can't help drive around Miami but see how crowded the streets are with cars and vehicular traffic flow. So we're a big believer in the Bright Line and Miami Central Station, and the millions of passengers that will pass through there will not just connect the cities within Florida, Miami, all the way ultimately up through Tampa Bay, but also connect neighborhoods within Miami. So Design District with downtown Miami, with El Portal, and various other neighborhoods. So we're quite bullish on that area. You also have the arena there, and then in between you have 300,000 feet of retail, including Apple, Sephora, Lululemon, Serafina, and a lot of great brands. So we're investing in that neighborhood as well, and we're quite bullish on its future.
Thank you.
I want to touch on one thing regarding that quickly. Miami Beach and just South Florida in general, we're talking about hospitality. There is so much luxury new supply that's coming to the area that is just going to elevate the experience that much more, okay? So just Miami Beach in general, you have their project, which is an auberge. You have an Aman that's coming into South Beach. You have a Bulgari that's coming into South Beach. You have a Rosewood that's coming into Miami Beach. You have our project that's a Thompson that's coming to Miami Beach. You have the Ritz-Carlton Residences that's coming to Miami Beach. What? You have Class A, Class X, not 5-star, 6-star Class X office hospitality that's coming to the market. So you have Matthew's unbelievable, hospitality that he brought to this market. So you have so much upscale luxury demand that has shifted to this market that the sky's the limit. From a hotel standpoint, there's no rate ceiling, okay? So when Art Basel, when F1, when the boat show, when all of these major events, Swim Week, are in the market, there's no rate ceiling. The hotels could charge whatever it is, whatever the demand, whatever the demand is, we could charge those rates because there's no rate ceiling, because people have, disposable income that they want to spend in this market. So what I'm trying to say is, with all of this, the flight money that's coming from LA, from Chicago, from New York, from Europe, from South America, it's just elevating the market to another level that we have never seen, and you see it reflected in these new super upscale projects, including Robert's.
So one more question before we go to Q&A with the audience. Robert, it's me right here.
Where are you? I don't know where you are.
In the middle, in the front. Okay. So Robert and I just did a podcast, maybe you've seen it on Instagram, but we discussed how the Miami consumer has changed, and this really let you guys open up all these new concepts, whether it's on the health side with the golf or the paddle, or on the luxury dining and nightclub side. Could you guys discuss how maybe over the past 5-10 years that consumer has changed and has really allowed you guys to move your concepts to that next level where they're now competing with other world-class cities?
Is that a question for me?
Everybody.
Communism sucks compared to capitalism. It's very simple. I mean, it's not very difficult to understand that people don't want to live under slavery and want to live in open borders. It's that simple. We were forced, when I first came to Miami, I moved only 18 months ago. Whenever someone had told me at a restaurant that whenever I need to eat my food, I can take my mask off, eat my food, and then put my mask on, I couldn't talk to my wife, I said it was done. And a lot of people all around the country and all around the world, regardless of the restrictions they had, they said, I want to be able to have the right to make my own choice. And I think as human beings, you should have that right. There's some people that feel this way, which I don't blame them for feeling the way they are. but there's people that want to live on this side. And for my purpose, I said, I want to live on this side. And I think that a lot of people that you're seeing, and a lot of people will fret that California is the 5th biggest economy in the world, even though there's a $60 billion deficit now, and I called that 2 years ago. People are saying, I choose this world instead of that world. So I think that's propelling the growth of people saying, we're moving here, we're going to bring our income here, we're going to bring our families here, we're going to invest here, and that's propelled the growth for the future of Miami and for Florida as a whole.
Any questions?
Here, I'll answer that question too. So 2012, we bought the property where 11 is located. I started buying a lot of other properties in the area and really cared about what went there. Met my partner, Dennis DeCory, and opened up, Ultra Club, nightlife experience that had a combination of different uses, and opened that. In 2014, when we opened, it was a smashing success. It performed much better than we thought. Last year, it did 300% better than it did the first year. So to answer the question about the consumer, the spending, disposable income, it's going up. People like spending. People like having a good time. And I think it's good. It's a good thing.
Sure. So we find, particularly in the projects we do, it's very intertwined with New York. And as you've seen, companies move down here, both from New York, Chicago, West Coast, and so forth. Everything from Citadel to Kirkland & Ellis to Millennium to, Sidley Austin. You have, jobs moving into this market in a really material way that you really haven't seen in a long period of time in Miami, which is super important. We're seeing that shape everything from our golf courses at Shell Bay, where we're getting New York level, golf prices of, well over $1 million for a membership, because you're seeing over the past 5 to 10 years, the customer shift given the jobs that have come into the market. New Yorkers, Californians continue to move into this market because taxes it's a no tax state. California and New York continue to escalate taxes, depending on both parts of both right now, approximately 15%. Also at Shore Club too, we're seeing with New Yorkers paying big numbers, we're blending there well over $5,000 a foot. So given the change of people moving in from New York and California that are used to paying top dollar in those markets, we're seeing people be able to command those prices now in the Miami market.
Thank you, guys. We have time for 2 questions or so, if anybody has.
Well, firstly, thank you, gentlemen, for your wisdom. Robert, I have a question for you. All of these guys sort of promoted what they're working on. And yes, I was saying all of these guys, incredible gentlemen, promoted and pitched what they're working on, except for you, which I find very interesting, given that what you're working on, in my opinion, is truly one of the most unique projects I've seen in Miami, America, and perhaps the world. This concept of office and X-class, it's just incredible. Could you please tell us more about this?
I got to give you a raise if you've ever worked for me, but that's a different conversation. Look, I don't like hyping up my projects, and I'm not saying any of them have, but I let my work and my social media speak for myself. And for me, I'm not like them where I have a primary business. My business is where I go, where I can see disruption. And Class X office for me was, I'm sure if I asked everybody, no, you know what, I will ask everybody. How many people here work in an office building? Raise your hand. How many people here work in an office building and are actually inspired to go to their office building and it excites them every single day? I need to come to your office buildings when you raise your hands. But you must be in the design district or something fancy. Okay, fine. But my common point is, like, I office right now in a big high-rise in downtown Miami, and I'm miserable. It sucks. I'm not excited. It's boring. And for me, I thought, okay, if I'm going to disrupt hospitality, which I did for a good couple of years, I said, okay, I'm going to disrupt office, because for a long time, you have to realize that when people go to the office, and everyone's like the work from home thing, which I don't really believe in, but that's a conversation for another day, that we need to build something exciting. So I want, instead of hyping it up and pretending that it's going to be the greatest thing in the world, I want to show people it's going to be the greatest thing in the world by announcements and actual ways of proving that we did. So thank you for your comment. I will hold on hyping it up more once I make all the announcements via social media for the amazing brands and the top tier 1% of private membership clubs and stuff that are set to come. So thank you for your question.
We can do one more, and then we've got to shut it down.
Thank you again. This was an amazing panel. I guess my question is really, what do you think is the greatest challenge right now that are preventing your projects from moving forward?
They're trying to hear pause. I don't know if they have any pause projects here.
What was that question for?
No, everyone's projects are moving. But, yeah. What? So let's change it. What? Is there any struggles that Miami might have? No, right?
I can understand. I think it's my biggest challenge was to stay within budget. No, I mean, the biggest challenge to push a project forward is to have the guts to actually pull the trigger and to find the people that are inspired in your vision to support your vision. You have to be passionate, to believe in it, and make sure you put everything together to make it happen. Obviously, everybody has great ideas, but it's another story to implement your ideas. And it takes a lot of struggle, a lot of doubts, a lot of fear, a lot of courage to push things forward. Coming from outside this country, not speaking the language, not knowing anybody, knowing I had the pressure on the risks of all the capital that would be invested was frightening. But passion, courage, determination, ambition was the emotions that really helped me push forward. I would not be here if I had not made all the mistakes I've made, because I've made them all, but I'm proud of them. My failures allowed me to become who I am today. And I don't remember my success, but I do remember my failures, and I'm very proud of them. What really pushes you to push the boundaries is the people that you can convince that what you are passionate about and your vision is worth it. Having people behind you, like it is in the hospitality industry, and inspire them by being genuine, authentic, and vulnerable is what has helped me become who I am. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to love yourself, which was not my case for many years, but I've learned. And now I realize that to push forward, you have to be surrounded by the right people. That's what I would say.
All right, let's give another round of applause to our audience. Thank you again so much for coming out tonight to Profile Miami's Royal Retreat. If you enjoyed tonight's event, please follow us on Instagram at Profile Miami, and please leave your name tags at the door so we can reuse them. Thank you.